kind of.
Yeah, we'll kind of play around with the shot. So I guess if we had...
I can see the building right there. It looks perfect.
Yeah, cool.
And do you want me to face you or the camera?
A little bit of both. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
What's up, everybody? Sam Heine here, back at you with another episode of Street Talk. It's another week, it's another episode. Appreciate you all tuning in. Had a really cool conversation with Kasey Maier this week. She's the executive director at the Waterfront Botanical Gardens. Really cool development going on down in the Butchertown neighborhood. And historically, it was called Frenchman's Point. So, I mean, it goes way back. I guess Frenchman's Point was the original name, but then a landfill was put in right on top of that, and now they are putting in a botanical gardens on the old landfill and making it green again, and promoting the wildlife around that area. And there's two main reasons why I think it is a really cool conversation. She gave me the grand tour and showed me around all the nooks and crannies, gave me the full story and some of the history behind that area. And these are the two pieces that I thought that you all would get the most out of. So growing Louisville sustainably. Louisville's an up-and-coming city. There's a lot of exciting developments on the residential side, on the commercial side, both. And with those things, you have to make the right sustainable choices to promote the wildlife along with that, and to grow the city in the right way, a sustainable way, that 50 years down the road, you look back and you made the right choices, and that you gave the city the foundation it needed to grow in the right way and to continue to grow for many years. So that's one of the pillars of the mission behind the Waterfront Botanical Gardens and what Kasey's doing with her team down there. So very exciting to see that happen. And then extending the Butchertown development. Butchertown's one of those up and coming neighborhoods. I hit on Butchertown with Joe Herron, who's the president and founder of Copper and Kings. And that's sort of what you think about with Butchertown. I think a lot of people think of the Butchertown neighborhood as that little strip of retail and residential along Story Avenue with Copper and Kings, Butchertown Market, but it actually extends down to the river and Waterfront Park, and the Waterfront Botanical Gardens extends a little bit further down River Road towards the industrial hustle bustle of River Road. So it's cool to kind of see a piece of Butchertown, a new piece of Butchertown getting some light, and hopefully, and I talked to her about this, what her thoughts are, hopefully having, this is the main piece of Butchertown that's developed, and this being the Waterfront Botanical Gardens, hopefully we'll see that gap being bridged, and the residential will fill in, the businesses will fill in between it, and it'll be a good situation for everybody, and we'll do that in a sustainable way, hopefully. Once again, if you have any questions, curiosities, inquiries at all about the Butchertown neighborhood or any other neighborhood in town, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help in any way I can. My number is 502-500-6469, or shoot me an email at sam@familyrealty.com. Again, happy to help in any way or answer any questions. So without further ado, let's get this one rolling. Enjoy the interview.
What's going on, everybody? Sam Heine here, back at you with another episode of Street Talk. I'm joined today by Kasey Maier, who's the executive director of the Waterfront Botanical Gardens development. That is live and happening right now. It's coming at us in October 2019, should be done. And it stood out to me, just the story in general, because like I said before, it's focused on a sustainable educational model where it's teaching people how to how to scale a city like Louisville that is in a lot of ways has a lot of cool developments going on around town.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of take that green approach and think, okay, we're building a lot of new buildings, we're putting a lot of new structures in, a lot's coming to the area, but we have to get back to the nature side of things as well to kind of promote the well-being of the wildlife around town and teaching people a little bit more, because that's something that I feel like I never really learned a ton about growing up.
Right, no. And I'm with you. I think the regreening of the landfill is really the first big significant part of this project. So when you think about putting in a botanical garden, sure, you could have put it in a natural setting out on the edge of the county somewhere, but instead we took a brownfield and an old landfill, and we're 30 feet above the floodplain, so landfill material underneath us, and we're regreening it, turning it into a garden with that beautiful view of downtown, and we sit right on Beargrass Creek. So that's the number one lesson. In other words, this didn't have to stay an ugly area. We can make it beautiful. The other thing that I like for people to understand, especially young people, so I love it when students come up here, because I want them to understand that something this size can happen. You can't jump into it, you can't rush it, but one step at a time, and yes, it might take years, it's not an overnight sensation, but it can be done. And I like them to understand that scale and that process.
Yeah, it is a big vision, and
Yep.
like you said, it took years to happen, so it's kind of cool that it's all playing out. And I guess from a neighborhood standpoint, I was telling you before we started the video, I think a lot of people think of Butchertown around the area as, Copper and Kings and that main little strip of the
Yep.
Butchertown market that's really developing, and but it extends down to right in front of the river, the waterfront, and I think it's a really cool thing to see the Botanical Gardens opening a little further down River Road to kind of extend some of that traffic from the Clifton area, from the traditional kind of Butchertown area, Waterfront Park.
Right.
From your perspective, and what are you hoping that it's going to do for businesses and residential traffic in this area after it sets up?
Sure. So a couple things. One is we do see our project influencing the neighborhood revitalization of Butchertown. When we started this project, the soccer stadium wasn't a thing yet. So we were kind of the only new thing happening after Copper and Kings. But now that the soccer stadium's coming, we're really affecting it. So, of course, we sit right here on Beargrass Creek in the Butchertown Greenway. A lot of the people in Butchertown and Story Avenue use that. And we're right on Frankfort Avenue, which does connect Clifton, Crescent Hill, and all the other neighborhoods up there. So our hope is that it will become a very walkable area, so that you might be up at Butchertown Social or Lupo Pizza here on Frankfort Avenue, come down to the gardens, swing over to the Waterfront Park and the soccer stadium for the game at night, and then go up to Copper and Kings and play, and Butchertown Grocery,
Right.
have a dinner or whatever. So unfortunately there's not a sidewalk yet on Frankfort Avenue, and right now I hear that's on hold, and I think that's really unfortunate. It's a very dangerous road.
Yeah.
And I hear the residents of the condominiums and the people up on Frankfort Avenue talk about it and how they want to get to Waterfront Park for Waterfront Wednesdays and those kinds of things. It is dangerous, whether it's because of just a speeding car or the dump trucks or whatever coming through. So we're hoping that happens. I don't know when that will happen, but it does need to be a walkable neighborhood.
Right. It seems like that's the next step, and what you just described sounds like the best Friday, Saturday night ever. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How can you beat that?
Right.
And it's all walkable. It's all within a mile.
Right.
Baby strollers, whatever. Just go for it.
Yeah. I'm very interested in this little clump of neighborhoods. Butchertown, Clifton, just that, the coming back story. Because back in the day, they were thriving.
That's right.
And so it's cool to see that a new breath of life is being breathed into them, especially in the form of something so progressive, and really something that people around town trying to scale the city need to keep in mind if they're going to scale the city in a sustainable way.
Right. And why not revitalize, right?
Right.
Bring it back. And Butchertown isn't in that mode. Now, that was one of the earliest neighborhoods in the city. And there is a house, I think it's called Linden Hill, that's right up there on Frankfort Avenue that was built in 1798. So it's an inn. The other interesting thing I don't know if you know yet is that last year or so, and MSD was they were doing some work on Story Avenue, and they took up the asphalt. They didn't realize it, but underneath were the old cobblestones.
Oh, cool.
They're granite cobblestones. And so a friend of mine saw them doing that and texted me really fast, can you all use these cobblestones? So they were being directed elsewhere, another landfill. And we said, bring them to our landfill. And so we have those, and we'll be able to use those in our landscaping.
That is
here.
so cool. What era is that? Just original, like 1800?
It had to be early 1800s, because again, that house was built in 1798.
What a wild thing.
Yeah, so I don't know when those roads were built, but they're really beautiful.
Yeah, so infusion of the past and the present.
Oh yeah.
And the future.
Think of the people and the carriages that went on that on that road. It's very interesting.
Pretty cool.
To me. Yeah.
I always love that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What's one thing that you're most excited about this project? There's a lot of stuff, a lot coming together in the neighborhoods. A lot of people getting excited about it, but what's one thing that kind of sticks out in your mind? Because we've got Beargrass Creek over here, we've got the new construction going on all around us.
To me, and I don't know if this completely answers your question, but the biggest asset for this site, in my own opinion, is Beargrass Creek.
Yeah.
I mean, Beargrass Creek runs throughout our whole city, and it's a contaminated creek. Beautiful, but contaminated. So we want to be part of the revitalization of Beargrass Creek and getting that clean. So I want to connect people who come to our facility and our gardens to the creek.
Yeah.
At the same time, understanding how plants can clean water. So the runoff, we know that the impound lot is behind us across 71.
Mm-hmm.
It's been proven that the runoff from those wrecked cars is contaminated, and that's going into the creek. There are plants that can clean that water, and so that's what they can learn about when they come to the gardens.
Yeah.
So that's my number one. The second thing I love best is the view of the city, but of course what we're building with our facility and the gardens. A garden brings community. It brings people together, and there are a lot of reasons people will come here. And you might come for a concert or beer in the garden one night, and hear some music. Someone else is going to come for a performance. Someone else is going to come for a speaker or a black tie gala or our regeneration fair, which is for kids. I mean, there are a lot of reasons you're going to come to the gardens. So it's a cultural asset, but when you're here, you're going to learn something.
Right.
Like I just told you the history of the American beech trees that we planted. So now you
Right.
learned something.
And I'm going to tell somebody after I leave here.
Tell somebody.
Spreading the good word. Yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
A lot to be excited about. It's all happening, folks. October 2019.
October 4, which is a Friday at 9 a.m., will be our ribbon cutting on the building. Expect a lot of people here. It'll be a community event. I've applied for a permit to close down Frankfurt Avenue because we're going to have a lot of pedestrian traffic, and I want those people to be safe. So, yes, October 4th, be here.
Awesome. I will be here, and it'll be very exciting to see it all fill in. So,
Yeah.
Kasey, I appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out. I really appreciate it. I think what you're doing is amazing. I love the street talk.
Yeah, thank you. We got a fan, folks. All right. Well, hey guys, we'll see you next week, and enjoy the interview.